And in studio, we have the Deputy Governor, Polycarp Igathe, and we're really grateful that you've made time for us. But you'll start with telling us your opinion on this, the filthy state of sanitation. But just before that, as you've seen flashing there on your screen, the breaking news that a court has nullified the election of Wajir Governor Mohamed Abdi Mahmoud. And of course, one of the petitioners held that he was not qualified for the seat. And there were also complaints of voter bribery within that process within August 8th elections. And so that election has been nullified of the Wajir Governor Mohamed Abdi Mahmoud. Just as that breaking news came in, we were looking at a feature done by Nimrod Tabu a few weeks ago, looking at the state of the sanitation, filthy state. Polycarp Igathe.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. And let me start by taking responsibility for the frustrations the Nairobians are feeling, and especially the particular clip that you played. We welcome the feedback, the building feedback. We welcome the criticism. Yet at the same time, let's say this city is 696 square kilometers. The feature was on 2 roads in CBD. And
yet it shows how desperate it is.
And it sets the agenda. I'm not saying that that's not the way it is, but I can assure you, after we have started devolving the garbage collection, a lot of work is ongoing. I think since the last 10 days, let me say in the last 10 days, there's been a redoubling of effort in picking up this garbage and dealing with the deviance, especially of private garbage collectors who collect, for instance, you collect garbage from an estate, but you come and dump it in a back lane in CBD, which was happening with a lot of impunity. So we are starting to enforce that, and there's a lot of people in court today and tomorrow and the day after to do it.
How exactly is this?
All we are asking for is patience. Well, our term is 60 months.
Patience even when businesses are closing because they can't
Mark, our term is 60 months.
Right.
We've only been here for 4 months.
But people will expect you to start working on day 1.
That is 6.
Hit the ground running.
That is 6% of the time. And I completely welcome what you're saying. It's not as if we've been sleeping. And to offer services, we must generate revenue. So there's been a couple of things we've done right. There's definitely stuff we've not done right. And I completely agree, like you were chatting before. If you ask me to give ourselves a mark, I'll perhaps say we're at 35% out of 100.
Actually, you said 50%, but now you've reviewed it, seeing what the state is of sanitation.
Because you have to calibrate your marks based on your customer's view of what you're doing.
All right, let's work with this new implementation of the devolved system of the sanitation and garbage collection to the sub-counties. How exactly is this going to be working?
We want to hire about 100 young people per ward. We have 85 wards in Nairobi. So those are 8,500 people who we can pay on a monthly basis, who we will pay on a monthly basis, just as when we're processing our payroll. And then these people will be the effective collectors of that garbage. And then they hand them over to the people who should transport it to Dandora dump site. So we have 2 problems. It's the overall collection of the garbage and also moving it, making sure that it gets to Dandora and paying people based on getting to Dandora. There was a lot of the whole control and assure system from collecting the garbage to making sure it gets to where it should be dumped was not happening in the past. And so we are trying to correct the system. And we understand the patients. We understand the impatience because anyway we were elected, we should be working from day 1. So we understand the impatience. All what we want to assure you is we are on the job, we are not sleeping.
All right, so you haven't yet employed these 100 youths within different wards.
Exactly.
You're looking at 8,000, little over 8,000.
8,500.
Will they be part of NCC?
Of course they will be. They'll be contractors into NCCs, but hired, and that's the advertisement that my boss was talking about just now out of Mombasa. And we have already, before everybody used to sit in City Hall. Now we have devolved sub-county administration. We have people called sub-county administrators. Every county has an administrator, and every ward has a ward rep. Their number 1 job is garbage.
All right.
So that's the way we are looking at it.
Well, is this part of your effort of making the NCC workforce younger? Because you pointed out, I think last week, that you have a little over 12,000 NCC staff, 50% who are over 55.
Well,
so Is this one of the ways of making this a useful?
Let me break it down. Let's come from the trees, let's go to the forest.
All right.
The forest, that's Nairobi City County, yeah, rather than the tree that is garbage. Garbage is one issue which we have to deal with. One of our biggest challenges is people and culture at Nairobi City County. We have an aged workforce, not fit for purpose and unproductive. And we are dealing with it by offering voluntary early retirements. So we're looking for money to do that and hiring young people. How do you expect a 60-year-old person or 55-year-old person to focus on garbage collection or do the work of garbage collection when we have a lot of young people who are unemployed? So that's part of the job we are doing. But these 8,500 will be contractors into the system, and that's the way we are going to work. And this idea is an idea of the governor, and we are working closely also with our county assemblies to make sure that we are all monitoring garbage. Right. I'll tell you, Nairobians want to see simple, basic, practical things, and that's why they elected us on Let's Fix Nairobi. Okay. They want us to collect garbage. They want us to get water in their taps.
Decongest the city.
And they want to decongest the city. They're telling us, you do these three things, we think we are going to consider you for round 2. And that's primarily what we are focused on. And to be honest with you, as a politician, Mark, bear with us. We are the people nobody's held more accountable in this country more than a politician, because every 5 years we stand up and we seek another mandate.
Actually,
but
it's every day for you, because this is the capital.
The civil service are permanent and pensionable. And there is the creative tension. I'm sure even so Matiang'i also expressing a little bit of frustration around the speed of things happening. But for us, I want to assure the people out there that the governor is focused, because his first promise was a clean and bright Nairobi. To do that, we have to get rid of garbage, we have to avail water, and we have to make sure sanitation, especially sewer, is fixed. So those things we're doing.
You still sound like you're in the campaign mode, because people now want answers. But we've mentioned decongestion. You've mentioned decongestion, and one of my colleagues, Seto Lale, is, I believe, at Luthuli Avenue, just to give us a picture.
But never worry when you see a politician campaigning. We campaign every day.
All right, all right. But let's have some service, because we employed you to give us some services. Seto Lale, give us a picture there of the how things are in terms of the congestion.
Well, thank you so much, Masai. Luthuli Avenue, a very busy street in Nairobi CBD. And you know what? It's not only about the matatus parking on either side of the street, but also about the bad state of the road. And drivers have been complaining about, you know what? Drivers and as well as riders have been complaining about the state of the Luthuli Avenue. Not only the road itself, and also when you go down to River Road as well as Koja roundabout, drivers say that the state of the road is a nightmare. And I'm just going to involve some of the border operators over here who've been complaining about the state of the road, saying that it has caused them a big deal when it comes to business. And there have also been accidents which have been contributed with the bad state of the road. And right now I'm joined by Mr. Frederick. Frederick, hebu just tuambie tu kuhusu hii barabara ya Luthuli Avenue. Angalia kamera.
Barabara si mzuri sana. Kwa wakati huu inakaa kama shamba. Especially kutoka hapa Luthuli, ukiteremka chini hapo River Road, alafu uteremke Kirinyaga, inakaa kama shamba. So uko nali tu enjoy, hata alikuja na mashini. Hata anasema ati sijui anaweka mapotol hapo downtown. Na wapi? Hiyo downtown hizo mashini zake za kusiba mapotol hazionekani. Sisi kama watu wa motorbike na watu wengine wa matatu hapa tunaumia sana. Juu unaona barabara yenyewe haiko poa. Ukiangalia hata ukitembea Tao, barabara yote kutoka huko juu, huko fire station, kuteremka mpaka hapa, mashimo kila mahali. So sijui tafanya namna gani. Kama anaweza tusaidia, ashughulike na barabara. Especially hapa Luthuli, hadi kule Kirinyaga Road, kunakaa kama mashimo huko Riverside. Ni pabaya sana, iko mzuri. Ashughulikie barabara kama inawezekana. Wasikuwa wanatuenjoy.
There's also been an issue about, you know what, littering, especially in the CBD. And it's only that if you go a bit down when you're going towards River Road, we were able to see garbage literally on the streets, as well as there's a lot of congestion actually by motorists, as well as pedestrians and border operators. And I'm just going to involve Frederick again, the issue about congestion. Hebu tueleze kuhusu, kumekuwa na congestion mingi sana na jam. Wafikiria nini na kosi hiyo jam?
hiyo jam most of the time inawaga inakusiwa na nini na yani hao makara operating na wenye wanafanya na matatu. Juu unapataga wale wase wa matatu, wale wanadili na matatu most of the time wanakuwa harassed. Na wakiwa harassed, so unapataga sometimes wanagoma ama wanafunga barabara. Unaona? Kama juzi motorbike zimeshikwa sana. Wanashika motorbike na hiyo pesa hata wakichukua kwa motorbike washughuli kutengeneza barabara. Juu barabara zinakaa tu mbovu.
Okay, right now we have the Deputy Governor in studio, in the NTV studios, Honorable Mr. Polycarp Igathe. What would you want to tell the Deputy Governor in terms of the state of the road on Luthuli Avenue, even as you face the camera?
Saa hii tunajua nyewe kusema kweli, governor akona deputy governor especially ni mtu akona brains. Tunaweza sema ni mtu akona akili Yeye anaweza atumie hiyo ujuzi ile amekuwa akitumia kule kwa hizo makampuni kubwa, alete hiyo ujuzi hapa Nairobi asaidie Kisonko. Manake Sonko peke yake hawezi.
Sawa. Okay. Thank you so much, and that's some of the views from the motorists as well as boda operators here in Luthuli Avenue. And you know what, it's just about the state of the road, and not only the state of the road, but also this used to be, a free street whereby motorists used to drive freely, but that's not the case anymore because we have, matatu or PSVs parked on either side of the road. And apart from that, we also have boda operators also doing their businesses, and all of this is affecting the pedestrians who are also using this particular street, to be able to access various business ventures. And Mark Masai, you had one of the boda operators, posing a question or just, commenting on the issue, and this issue is directed to the Deputy Governor, and they say they really want him to intervene as far as their welfare is concerned. Mark.
Thank you very much, Seth Olale, joining us from Luthuli Avenue here in the CBD. Polycarp Igathe, compliment there coming your way, but as well a challenge. Is this what we want to persevere and deal with throughout the year, the congested streets?
And let me also welcome the comment from that specific from Nairobians, especially around Luthuli, and say this. The region below Tom Mboya, going all the way to the river. It's unfortunate that the entire nation of Kenya is decanted, transport-wise, into Tom Mboya Street, River Road, Kirinyaga Street. And we have done that time immemorial. Last year, towards December, just before we went back for the second round of the presidential re-election, we gazetted a decongestion plan, the first step of decongestion, which is to stop this decanting of all upcountry matatus into just that region. Not only do upcountry matatus and transport come into that, I'm talking about Nyamakima, Duruma Road, Tea Room, and all the matatus from maybe especially the Eastland side, and even they all come there. So what happens? Small-scale traders or hawkers follow the traffic to be able to sell them goods there. And then everybody shoppers also follow. So there's a lot of congestion that we admit, that I admit, that we take responsibility for.
How are you taking responsibility for it?
So how we are fixing it is by coming up with a commuter rail plan using the existing rail. And this is part of the Nairobi Integrated Urban Transport Master Plan. And the first steps have already started. Mark, I would like you to send the same reporter who was there to take the train from the train station and go all the way to Githurai and go all the way to Kikuyu and start to see we are spending $300 million, that's 3 billion shillings, to fix train stations so that we try and get Nairobians to use the train and get matatus rather than coming into CBD to decant people into train stations. And I'll tell you how that will work. Because the biggest creator of traffic jam in CBD, number one creator of traffic jam is private vehicles. I repeat, private vehicles, not matatus.
Right.
What we want, the vision, the policy we want in 5 years that you will see is a pedestrianized CBD, no more matatus. And if you look at that area, Luthuli specifically, people are using the whole streets to park their buses. Neo Kenya, Embasava, all those, I'm sorry to use a specific name, but they're all, you have 200 buses, but they have no one to pick, but they are parked right outside people's shops. So this is the first step we took, was to publish that gazette, and we are moving to enforce that gazette. We delayed the enforcement of that gazette for more public consultation, for more public participation, and of course for votes.
So you delayed that so that you wouldn't displease them, and then they would give you the votes.
No sweat. So we are moving in now to enforce. And
what are the timelines of this enforcement?
We are hoping as we begin February. You will see that, and if you move and see the work we have done in the Ngara area, we have created a bus stop at Desai, on Desai Road. If you go to the whole of Guru Nanak, Ngara is going to be the place you want to decant all matatus. We are negotiating right now with a railway pension plan to purchase, to do an exchange of land against the rates they owe us for 42 acres sitting in Ngara, where we will make the biggest bus station in Ngara, next near Guru Nanak, between Forest Road and this other road.
And this is for the city matatus, or also the ones from up-country?
Up-country matatus, first of all, will not, all of them. Into CBD, we want you to just pick and drop. CBD will be a pick and drop zone.
Starting when?
February.
February.
Yes.
All up-country matatus and buses, as well as
CBD.
The city buses and
matatus. We are moving.
They will be at Ngara.
Yeah, and then we'll start decongesting the south of Tomboya. Let me tell you, if you look, what is an acre of land value? What is the value of land for an acre below Tomboya? It is very low density area. We want to regenerate that bit. And we have to do it by starting to decongest. So that's the plan. And just so I finish the commuter rail plan, which is part of the Nairobi Metropolitan Traffic Authority, NAMATA. That's why NAMATA was formed by presidential decree, by the way, on 18th of February the year before. We want a system, because around Nairobi metropolitan area, there is a population of 15 million people. You know, we talk about 5 million Nairobians, but that's just within Nairobi City County.
Right.
We want to see a train. The vision of the government, national government, county government, is to see the commuter rail train move from Central Station into Makadara, into Githurai. From Githurai, there's a line that goes to Kiambu, brand new line. Then it goes from Kiambu, it goes to Limuru. From Limuru, it connects back to Kikuyu. From Kikuyu, on your way down, before it gets to Kibera, it branches off to Ngong, Kitengela, Athi River. So we've created a loop line. And we think with 30 billion shillings, we are able to do that master plan. And in every train station, we create a market, a market for hawkers, and a park and ride station. So if you're coming from Kikuyu, for instance, you park your car at the Kikuyu railway station. You take the train into the station. If you're coming into CBD, you'll only come with your private car because you know where to park. And then we remove all the on-street parking, which today is occupied by taxis, taxi cabs, and all these on-street parking. We remove them so that you're only parking in a building upstairs, or you're parking underground. And then it's all pick and drop within CBD. That's the plan. That plan, Nairobians will realize it in 2 years. You know, when you have a headache, I'm just to use the analogy, you take a Panadol. There's a time between the pain in your head and the time you swallow the pill. There's just a little bit of a lag time. And I think that's what we are starting to do. But it requires a lot of public participation. As you know, constitutionally, we can't govern without consulting the people. So it takes time to do that consultation. And we've done the consultation with the Matatu People Welfare Association, the Matatu owners.
With this plan?
They're all aligned.
Starting February?
They're all aligned.
Okay to be within Ghana.
And whoever is not aligned, then the time for debate is finished. Now it's time to go.
All right. And also the railway plan that it really looks good, sounds really good. And you say 3 billion has been spent so far. Then when can we start seeing the full effect and the benefits of it?
Actually, let me take the opportunity to actually encourage Nairobians to, especially along the Eastlands lane, going all the way to Dandora, Githurai, let me even say Ruiru. Start using the train, just like people from Syokimau into CBD use the train. You're wasting time bringing your personal cars. If I've taken the train myself from Syokimau in, it's a very comfortable ride. And we even have a more novel idea. We want to work, we are working with Kenya Railways to say in the future, Kenya Railways should just be the provider of infrastructure. The train coach itself, they can concession the coaches to different matatu circles so that a circle owns a coach. So it encourages them to, so they don't feel that the train is taking their business. So that you're able to decant passengers into the train stations, and train stations become the hub of business and parking around Nairobi CBD. And you must remember, politics is important, because for the first time the metropolitan area is under aligned political leadership. Machakos, Kajiado, Kiambu, Nairobi, if you want, you can even add Murang'a. And all those governors have asked us and have committed to this plan under the Metropolitan Area Improvement Plan.
Okay.
And these are not new plans. These are plans we found shelved, which we are taking and activating. And under the leadership of those governors, they are very, very committed to moving. We are hoping Nairobi will start to see a loop line that will work. Because
hoping.
Yeah.
But you say the 2 years it will take to really recognize this.
To realize it.
Yeah,
but the first step of that plan is already done. Right now, as I speak to you, the Makadara station is done. The Githurai station is done. Which other if you take that line from Central Station all the way to Ruiru, even when you go there, which is in the county of Kiambu, you will see that those train stations are done, and park and ride stations are starting to come up. If you go all the way to Kikuyu, that station is done. So that work has already started. Right. So, but this work of decongesting CBD coming back is we have to stop decanting the whole country into 3 streets. This does not happen under Sonko Igathe's administration. Right. This has happened time immemorial. Right. So we have to change our thinking, and we need a little bit of less cynicism and a little bit of less negativity to the idea, and we all carry one another and we move.
Okay, we'll get to the conclusion of this because there's also the issue of the hawkers. You've mentioned it in the decongestion plan with dealing with the matatu stages outside of the CBD, and that perhaps is one of the reasons or ways that you'll have to deal with it. But we'll conclude with this because we have to take a break. I'll be back shortly.